Get ready, Chiefs Kingdom, to unleash your passion and excitement for all Chiefs content. With the up-and-coming sports media company giving you all of the Chiefs coverage. We are raising the decibels and embracing the community of Chiefs Kingdom. Elevate your fandom and join our team who loves your team. Red Kingdom Media. Welcome to this Week 7 edition of the Red Kingdom Media Live postgame show where your Kansas City Chiefs defeat the Chargers 31-17. Guys, you probably hear it. My voice is a little hoarser than normal because I was a little extra angry. So if I clear my throat a lot, bear with me. But it just means I did my job, and I did what I could to get the Kingdom this dub. But, this game was like so full of emotion and back and forth where they looked like one team was about to do whatever they wanted to do, and then either the other team kind of made a big play and stepped up, or the other team was just making a mistake, and the other team got to capitalize off that mistake. So I don't have the turnover ratio in front of me, but it seemed about even until, say after Mecole punt return time. I'd say it prior to that, it was pretty dead even. So it just felt like a game that the defense was going to either give up or the Chargers offense was going to, strike, and they just didn't get it. So before I give you guys the floor, I was making comments that I didn't think that the Chiefs could ultimately keep them under the 20 points because I saw that touchdown coming to make it either 24-all or that garbage score to make it just a one-score differential. But, just lots of emotion. You were expecting the defense to make a mistake and let through, and they didn't. So shout out to them. If you would have told me that you would only give up 17 to the Chargers at home, I would have said, well, you have to have won. And I'll just say, I feel like the referees did some stuff that probably negated about 2 more touchdowns to that score. So I think had the penalties not happened and the no calls and some other times didn't go, if Arrowheads got to the ref's head on a couple of those plays instead to put their flag back in their pocket, I think you could have saw the Chiefs put up more than 40 today. So that's where I stand. I think the offense is coming back into form. And it's always Travis Kelce. It will always be Travis Kelce, but Rashee Rice is wide receiver 1. Let's all accept that. That dude will make the play when we need to. Shout out MVS sighting for once. Hopefully we see that again going down the stretch of the season. But, boy, happy to get this game over with. The Chargers games always have that extra charge to them, don't they?
Yeah, most definitely. It's always one of those games where it's always a one-score game going to the fourth quarter, and also in the final minutes as well too. Luckily, we was able to get that touchdown to put ourselves ahead. 2 touchdowns, and our defense did their job. So really, I'm just satisfied with what I saw today. I was just saying throughout the game, I was like, okay, is this where we're going to put it together? Because, in the first half, it was definitely a fireworks show. The offense came out blazing. Travis Kelce was balling out. Happy National Tight Ends Day to him. He had a big game, had over, I believe, 150 yards, and he was just one of the primary threats. They couldn't stop him. He was definitely getting into the zone, just sitting there, getting the catch, getting yards after catch, and he was just helping us move down the field. And then just in general, one of our young emerging wide receivers, I said it already, might have a number 1 receiver in Rashee Rice. He looked like someone who's definitely having that chemistry with Mahomes, and really they're balling out. And then defensively, you got to give them their praise. Had about 3 to 4 sacks on Herbert. They had 3 sacks in the first half, and they were just balling out. Aminu came back. He was balling. It looks like he's already in regular season form. So it's pretty enjoyable. I'm happy of what I saw. Defensive backs did what they were supposed to do. At first, Herbert had his way, but they was able to come back in the second half. Spags had made some adjustments, and they didn't give up any touchdowns at all. So happy for a Chiefs win. Definitely satisfied from what I saw, and let's see what we can do next week against the Denver Broncos. You muted, bro.
You bro. It's a lie.
Yeah, am I back? I'm back now. Y'all
Yeah.
hear me? Yeah, so I share the same sentiments as you two guys. I think they played a good game on offense. I feel like the offense showed up. Travis, I thought was almost going to go for 200. The type of game he was playing, I thought he was playing really kind of out of his mind there, playing out of his body. I felt like MVS had, like you said, we had a good MVS sighting. Besides that blocking the back call, I really don't want to harp on the refs too much. I feel like the Chiefs they took some shots today on defense. For the first time, we haven't seen them get punched really in the mouth, and they got punched a couple times in the mouth, and they responded very well. So I like what I seen out of the Chiefs getting 2 turnovers. I think Mike Edwards could have had a third one if he jumps that route at the end of the game. So I feel like he's a guy that's probably going to get paid here coming up. I feel like some guys on that defense are definitely going to get paid. I feel like this was the game where we said this is where we're going to see if the defense can separate themselves and show if they're top 5. I think they shows that the defense has arrived, and they're going to keep opposing offenses at bay when they need to. So I think this is really a statement game for the defense, but it also shows that the offense is here. I feel like Mahomes also has a guy that he trusts in Mecole Hardman. I feel like he kind of knows the offense. He got a kind of important third down there on down the stretch for the Chiefs. So I'm interested to see how they use these wide receivers moving forward. Seeing that Rasheed got 4 touches, MVS got a couple touches in there. I feel like I said, it's going to be a different guy every week, still like it was last year. It's going to be fun to see how they use them, but moving forward, I feel like we're good. We're in a really, really good spot as far as our division goes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude. I don't know. Did we almost mathematically lock up the AFC West already, or pretty close? We were making the comments
Pretty close
podcast that like this would essentially put them up because the Raiders already lost a game this week. The Chargers we played, and the Broncos. What was the final score for the Raiders or the Packers? Because it didn't look like they were doing anything.
The Broncos lost. I mean, the Broncos won. They beat the Packers.
Okay. So the Raiders and the Broncos are like nearly even, and maybe the Raiders still have a slightly better record, but they're still not even a winning record as far as I'm aware. Yeah. So, and we get to play the Broncos again next. So that's another AFC West game to knock out. And then you just got 2 Raiders games and a Chargers game to end the season. So yeah, this is looking wrapped up again.
Yeah, I just looked at the records too. So the Raiders are 3-4. Both the Chargers and the Chargers is 2-4, and then the Broncos is 2-5. So pretty much with the Raiders being at 3-4, we're pretty much at the most 4 games ahead of everybody, and then only 3 games ahead of the Raiders. So we're stacked up. We get some big wins going forward, we'll be fine.
Yep. So the Chiefs obviously are 2-0 against the division so far, and the Raiders and Chargers have both took a game and from each other, and the Broncos have lost both games they played against their opponents. So that's looking good to go 3-0 against the division after next week, and then you're sitting pretty good. It might be another 2020 repeat where final Chargers week is a who cares game. Don't even play Mahomes in the offense. I mean, I wasn't expecting to say something like that, especially after week 1 and their performance and being 0-1 and whatnot. The NFL, there's a lot of parity in the NFL. It doesn't. You have to do it every single week, day in and day out, week to week to get to the top. We can see a team just completely overachieve for a week to get a win and then just not have that same energy again next week. And so the NFL, any team can beat any team. We saw the Chiefs lose to teams last year and almost lose to bad teams last year. So I want this team to play like every game the other team is playing their Super Bowl to beat you, because that's what they think the effort's going to take to beat you. And if you know that fact, then you got to play at your best, not like tightly wound where you're like, I got to make a play a la hero ball, home style, but just do what the offense dictates to do. Just do your job, march down the field, because you have the better players, you have the better coach, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, and I just want to say, as far as the offense goes, and them kind of getting everything together, I feel like it was just only a matter of time. This is a guy, like I said before, that has won a Super Bowl. They played at an MVP caliber level. They weren't really playing too bad going into this game, but they were playing not at a high level. And I feel like you said, there is a lot of parity in the NFL, and I feel like the defenses that are good are going to play good.
Right.
Period. Point blank. You've seen the Patriots today beat the Buffalo Bills,
Mm-hmm.
And the Buffalo Bills is a very, very high-powered offense, the third best third down offense in the NFL.
The Lions, bro.
Yeah, the Lions also
I didn't even
went down
see
to
that game.
to the Ravens. So like,
boy, I was watching that one.
There's a lot of good defenses playing good. Your defense, if you have a good defense, the defense is going to play good. Like I said, this is a year I think the defenses have caught up with the offenses, and you see it. So if your offense can't figure out a way to fire on all cylinders without having to slow down or without having to think, like we've seen the Chiefs play today and more reactionary, then you're going to get stops and you're going to get turnover on downs, and those teams that are successful on defense are going to win the game. So I think we may see the league just catching up with itself.
And it could have been, but at the same time, today we saw the Baltimore Ravens put up 35, and then Chiefs put up 31 as well too. We're gonna see what happens tonight on Sunday Night Football with the Eagles in Miami. But at the same time, it seems like the playing field has been leveled, and now it's truly any given Sunday. And even those worst teams can really come out and probably have a day on you just because it's a lot of talent in the league. This is something that you was referencing already too as well too, Monty. You was like, those kids was doing those 707s with those pads and those helmets. A lot of them been already focusing in and learning about how to defend those type of style of wide receivers in the league now. They're just as quick as them, and just learning the maneuvers of what they can do to be able to win that advantage at times. So, I mean, with how it is going out right now, of course, I think defensively they're just starting to like really just come down on it. But at the same time, our offense is still going to make some points. And we just saw today to where, Travis Kelce had a big day. Mahomes had his best game so far this season with 421 yards, 4 touchdowns, only 1 interception. Knucklehead mistake, but at the same time, just couldn't really finish off the throw like he wanted, because I saw what he was doing in one-on-one coverage. Saw McCole Hardman out there. I think he was trying to throw it more towards the sideline and give him a chance to try to make a play. But at the end of the day, it's what happened. Asante Samuel Jr., one of the better defensive backs in the league already. But what I was already thinking, I'm gonna leave it off with this so y'all can go, so we can move forward with the show. The teams at the beginning of the season, they had the chance to knock out the Chiefs early when we was playing our worst. And what I saw today, I think this can be a complete team right here, because we saw the offensive line hold edge rushers Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa at bay. They didn't do nothing the entire game. Mahomes only got sacked once. Darian James was getting cooked by Travis Kelce throughout the entire game as well too. And our receivers was able to really get open and make some plays downfield. I think they're starting to see it come together. And then McCole Hardman made a big punt return. He wasn't doing that over in New York. He had a total of 28 snaps. He only had 1 catch for 6 yards. He come back in Kansas City, get a big third down to extend the drive, and the Pacheco throw for a touchdown to seal it off. And then also a big punt return that he almost cribbed to the house. And, in honor of Dante Hall, who got
inducted
into the ring
of honor today.
I shed some tears, fam.
Yeah, no, that's what I told Dale. I almost shed a tear for Cole, man. This is a story like you don't get to see a lot of stories like this in football, where you kind of veer off your path that is also righteous to you before. And I feel like Cole was he played, and the Chiefs were very, very good to him, very righteous to him. when he was here. Unfortunately, he had some injuries when he was supposed to take over and be that next guy for us. It didn't allow him to be that next guy. And you just see the moment come a whole 360 or 180, whatever you want to call it, when he gets that punt return against the Chargers today. It's reminiscent of what we've seen him do in the playoffs and what he did as a Chief. It's just giving us that spark to put us over the top. So I really like that for him. I'm happy for him, even getting that third down catch. I feel like this can be the spark that the Chiefs really need, just as far as him coming back and just being that guy that he was before he left, and giving him some confidence. I feel like it's a good redemption story for him. I love it.
Not even that, but like he did his script perfectly, because he had that drop pass at the beginning. He had some punts go over his head and go further into territory than we would have wanted. So we're like, dang it, McCole, come on, dang it. And then, right when you need to play, they step up, a la Sky Moore last playoffs. We're going to see that. We're going to see these guys, and we're going to be like down on them, but we're still going to rely on them to make that big play at the end of the game to seal it, because it doesn't matter who you are. When you put on this uniform, you're prepared to close out that game, whatever side of the ball that you guys are. But man, it's good to have him back. You could tell that, the team kind of missed him. The fans liked having him back. Had some kids behind me say, how come he's not wearing 17 anymore? So they might have to address that beef a little bit. But it's pretty much what we've expected of him. And it's strange because we're still kind of like underwhelmed or dissatisfied, but like he could still have as many yards or targets or catches as any of the other wide receivers on this field, and has like done it already throughout the years. Not a lot, but he and Mahomes already have 100 yards, 400, 500 yard season, 20 catches. Like, so they have that rapport. We didn't really see McCole on offense much.
Yeah, I
at
saw.
all.
Yeah.
So we'll see how much he gets like more added to the offense itself, because it almost looked like he was just kind of here, play special teams for a bit, get acclimated to the team again, and then maybe you'll see your role increase as the season goes on.
Yeah, and just personally, I feel like I seen it down the stretch. He had a catch on the third down just recently to seal the game. So I feel like that is a little niche right there that McCole brings to the offense that not a lot of wide receivers can do. Like I told Dale, I feel like that brings the speed element back to the offense. You didn't have a guy that you miss a tackle and he's gone for 6. So I just think you get him on those type of plays where you're in that bunch set, you get him to, here you got it in the third down. You take your choice, beat him across his face, use that speed, let Mahomes put it in the bucket, you get the first down. So those are plays that we've seen Tyreek run a million times here. Mahomes just sometimes throws that pass a little bit too hard. He gets tipped and maybe gets taken back for a pick 6. Who knows? But that's something that McCole, I feel like an element that we brings to this offense that we didn't have before, just being that he was here with Tyreek. He's seen them kind of run those routes. And then he even, when the writing was on the wall and he was going to take over for Tyreek, he ran those routes. I feel like it just brings another element. It's something that's probably you don't even have to tell him. It's a play that he knows. You just give him the verbiage and call it.
And now we get to really see that Jet and Kadarius Toney combination, because we did not get to see that last season. We saw for tiny bits of that AFC Championship game, McCole did his thing to get a first down and never came back. So that's one thing to get excited about, is maybe that puts Sky Moore in a better position. Maybe that takes him out of a role that's not necessarily his strong suit to let him be more of a possession man-on-man receiver. We saw him get those tough catches. We saw him take that flipping tackle and get up like nothing. So we know they got it in them. I think it's just about putting the guys in the right positions, which receiver, which kind of routes are they good with, and try not to pigeonhole them and say, well, if this guy comes on the field, it's only a jet sweep. So maybe we've gotten to the point now where we can have at least 3 or 4 guys come on the field that are wide receivers that the defense has to say, this guy may get the ball in jet sweep, so I got to pay attention. I got to see
Yeah.
who it is every single time. It doesn't matter if it's McCole or Tony or Sky Moore. You still got to pay attention to that because the one time you don't, it might be someone who takes it to the crib.
Yep, and I'm glad you brought up that point as well too, because that's what I was actually thinking going towards the game when we was actually we were actually playing very well in the beginning, was very effective, and something I saw a lot. They had a lot of Sky Moore motion, and they was having a motion in, and then he's running a route. It's like that ability to open up the offense now. It's like he can focus on being that possession type of guy that we're saying. We saw him actually make a big catch on first down as well too, to where he just did a simple, he ran this route, was able to pivot, get to the outside, catch it, get out of bounds. Just something like that. That's his type of game. Now you got McCole back who can run those motions with Tony and him with him as well. Is going to be able to create a lot of more things downfield for those receivers that we actually want to see. We saw MVS was able to step up. He was able to run with the play when Mahomes got the pocket. But we just got to credit the offensive line as well too, just because me and Alani was actually talking about this during the game, and something I brought up was what's different from last year when we saw Orlando Brown Jr. and then also Andrew Wiley. When Mahomes got outside of the pocket, he was actually getting chased down as he was going outside of the pocket making the play. These guys are really standing them up. He's getting outside of the pocket. He has a running lane where it's like, okay, I can run and get it first, but you're going to come down eventually. I'm going to be able to get one of my receivers. They can get more yards than me because, I can get this first down, but they can get a first down and more. So now with that coming together and we starting to have that rhythm offensively with the wide receivers as well, and then Travis Kelce's going to do what he's going to do, that's going to be a lot for teams going forward. And I think we've probably found our niche and what we feel like what we need to do and how we can be, how we can produce going forward as well. And then I saw also this last point, we talked about who had number 17, Richie James.
Baby.
This was my hot take. With McCole back and what we just saw, what he did in that punt return, and that was something that Richie James was doing for us, and he wasn't really acclimated in the offense as well. We saw that he had a couple drops, and then it seems like they just went away from him. This could be a guy who could end up waving, maybe, depending on the situation.
Couldn't they have done that to start and gave him his number in the first place? And they chose not to do that. They could have said, "Sayonara, you're injured. You can't pay."
I think it was
anyway.
I think they wanted to see what McCole was going to come with. I think seeing him now back in here making that type of play offensively, okay, he's back to where we got it. We had these guys when we won a Super Bowl just without Juju Smith-Schuster. But you got Rashee Rice in here who's taking that role and who is excelling in that role as well too, actually doing more after the catch and more elusive. So you kind of filled in the areas that you have already that won you the Super Bowl last year, and you just got it back now. And then you got Justin Watson who's hurt. He's going to come back and get back in that offense regardless because Mahomes has a chemistry with him. So Richie James, it looks like he's going to be the odd man out. A lot of people want to say Justin Ross. We saw him have that phantom pass interference call earlier, but I think we just needed him in more moments where I saw he was in the slot and then he faded out to that post corner. I think you got to have that. That's a guy you got to have already out there when you're on the goal line on the 5-3 yard line. Just go ahead and throw it up. That's his position right there. I think he can find his way into the offense like that because we want to see a lot more from him. But Richie James might be the guy who's an odd man out, and I'm gonna leave it at that. Just what y'all thoughts on that?
And I think it was more just Montreal Washington. That's low risk. It's low risk, high reward with Veach, right? It's easier for me to cut this guy that's a practice squad guy that was bouncing around from team to team, and make a spot for Mecole on the roster, and then to get rid of a guy that I signed that had some promise that we thought was really a prospect that we're marketing to be a good wide receiver and show some prominence in the preseason, and hear that flag from the fans. Do I really want to get all of that when I could have just cut a guy, like I said, like Montreal Washington? So I feel like he just weighed his options there and just picked the best one. Like you said, but when guys do get healthy, because Richie James had an MCL, he will come back just like Kadarius Toney. Just missed training camp. He will eventually come back. It gets crowded in there, but if guys are making plays and barring injury, if Mecole can stay healthy, yes, it does happen to Richie James, unfortunately. because he's the guy that he comes in and he gives you the juice like he did today. When we've seen it before, he's done it consistently. He's done it in the playoffs before as well, bringing us back to on the road to winning the Super Bowl. When Mahomes, when I think when I was not one MVP, but I think we were down to the Texans, and then we were down in that that next game, the Titans game. So he's a guy that showed up before, and he knows the offense, like I said, very well. So I think he's winning in a lot of aspects that'll make you really question to see if Richie James is gonna get waived or not.
Guys, hot take. We're gonna go 8 wide receivers and only 2 running backs, because that's the only amount of running backs we need on this team, y'all.
Bro, don't even talk.
Every time CEH takes a step on the field, you can tell that nothing is going right. I'm sorry. He had one run for 7 yards where he looked like he hit the hole and powered through and did something. Great job. That's it.
Every time he on the field, we stall.
It never fails. And how Andy Reid, an offensive genius that he is, can't sense this in the stadium when 80,000 of the rest of us can get the impression, why is Isaiah Pacheco not the one taking the ball right now? Hello?
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is with Clyde, or what they're trying to push with that, but
trying to trade him, bro. They trying to get something. I'm telling you, they not like at this point. You just gotta let it go, bro. You just gotta let. I don't know.
Well, I know Jet. I know you can't use Jet on every third down because it'll get noticeable. Okay, so like it'll become
block and release.
And that's great, but they want that vet. Andy Reid really loves that vet in there on third down. I think. Really just with
there was
like
one
I said
snap,
with
I legit saw Jerick McKinnon on the right side of Juwan Taylor as if he was a tight end blocking on that play.
Yeah,
and he didn't give it up either. This man is insane. This man is shorter than I am, weighs more than me, and is just a bowling ball of a human.
And they took away a 49-yard touchdown from him as well too. Like
on a BS block in the back, fam.
Yeah,
that was BS because technically Trey Smith did the same thing on that touchdown to Pacheco at the end of the game. Got him like towards a little bit towards the back.
I wish Tooney would have got more of his body, a little bit more of his body. But like, I really think he just don't touch him because McKinnon's gonna cut it back. Trust the running back, don't cut it back and make a miss and go get it. So he makes that. That's just a ticky tack BS call.
Yeah.
I feel like you said. Other than that, I just want to say that I feel like the offensive line played out of their minds, absolutely out of their minds. We need to give credit where credit is due. Period. Point blank. I think that they really played up to a standard that we haven't seen here in Kansas City in a long time. Like they said, Tony Romo mentioned it today, watching on the broadcast. Mahomes is one of the quarterbacks with one of the most time in the league right now. So I just feel like he has to get better at distributing that rock and getting guys getting open because he has the time. He has a lot of time back there to make decisions. And I feel like he has to pick his spots when he's moving, like Dale says, out of that pocket better. Just really just pick and choose the size that he's going to because their tackles are good. You're not getting beat around the edge a lot. And if you're getting beat around the edge, they're pushing them outside of you. You're stepping up and you're moving out of there. So I feel like the tackles are doing good. That whole offensive line is playing at really a Pro Bowl level. Seriously,
they are.
All right, so I'm gonna get on my soapbox and I'm gonna give my spiel about the stupid zebras, and then we'll talk about the offense and the defense, and give them their kudos. Boys, we just talked about one play, the phantom block in the back. There was a clear offsides called as a false start, and you can watch the replay and see the Chargers jump offsides and the Chiefs players not move. You've got a face mask that's not called. You got a fumble loss where if you watch it in slow motion, he can't even take 2 steps with the ball to count it as a catch. I saw Mahomes on the ground several times, no flags. They were very lucky that this game did not end the way it did. And for anybody who's still on the soapbox that the Chiefs get all the calls, you can watch this game back from start to finish and how you don't have that feeling that the refs are not being fair, then I just can't see where you're coming from. So I'll shut up. That was I yelled. I gave him my 2 cents while I was there. I'm not going to do nothing terrible because they won, okay? But there's not a damn fan in that stadium who isn't chasing those refs down if it's a controversial call at the end of that game, man. And how this crew did not learn from Carl Sheffers last season, I don't know. But y'all got a couple more weeks before you come back and host another game on Monday night. Long month. So come back ready to call real flags or keep it in the pocket, fellas.
Jim Nance also pointed it out too. This is one of the most penalized officiating crews in the league. They throw a lot of flags, so it's no surprise.
It was something. It was literally the Chargers' first possession, third down, already a penalty, ticky tack. I'm like, oh boy, it is gonna be that.
But that's what I like about Chiefs Kingdom as well too, because a lot of times they like to say we complain about penalties, but we've been dealing with these type of penalties for almost 10 plus years. To be honest, this has been happening with us even before Andy Reid, and even in his first tenure here as well too. We always had those ticky-tack calls that weren't going our way. Honestly, it's a blessing that it's going our way now. In certain moments, the thing is, when we're not doing this, we're not letting those penalties be the reason or use it as a reason why we're losing games. We're going to actually capitalize. So when you make a mistake, what we're going to do is we're going to capitalize off of that. And that's what we have been better at so far, in my opinion. So at the end of the day, Chiefs fans, let it go. We still getting dubs. We're going to get these wins, in unison. We all in our little Chiefs groups as well too. Of course, we talk about with one another, but with them fans out there, we don't got nothing to say, because it's a lot of times there's a lot of things that y'all didn't even speak on. It was just a situation. It was in another game. They were just talking about it with the Indianapolis Colts and the Browns, and they were in the last minutes, and it was a pass interference. And guess what? You got JPA football. Excuse me. Let me just chill. You got all those other sites, right? On Twitter, they talk about it's uncatchable. What are you talking about? This is the same thing that happened in the Vikings game. Literally uncatchable with Snead. So how do you say the Chiefs are getting gifted penalties, and then you say the other thing when it's another game and talk about it's an uncatchable pass?
Narrow.
Keep it consistent. Obviously, you're just hating on the Chiefs at this point, so we're gonna leave it alone. Good dub today. We won by 2 touchdowns. The Chargers is one of the teams who always have the most games played, where even if it's a win or a loss, they still only lose by either a touchdown or win by a touchdown. So we were able to come across that. We was able to get a good dub in Kansas City. Now we got to get ready to travel to Denver next week. And shout out to the defense. And all them guys.
Yeah, and I just want to say it's lonely at the top. So people are never going to side with you and be on your side. We get a lot of calls, but it's a lot of calls that go against us too. But we have the only quarterback in the league that is able to get us out of holes whenever we do get in them. Like you see, he threw a pick today. He's the only one that really eliminates the turnover differential and the penalty differential. So who cares? I'm sorry. He does it. It doesn't exist when you have Mahomes. I'm sorry.
Yep. All right. So, guys, Chris Jones, he didn't get it. In fact, he got a QB hit as his only stat the entire game. That interior lineman was shutting him down. What happened, guys?
Also, for the view, I don't know if you had a different view than us. Season ticket holder right here. He must have the best view in the house all the time.
Either behind their view or see them coming forward. One of the two.
One of the two. So oftentimes, I'm not gonna lie, it was a couple times we were calling it out as well too. It was a couple holes. We don't trip, but he was trying to sell it as well too a lot. But he was beating them in the inside. That's why at times Herbert he had to get it out quick, check it down. But at the same time, Mike Daniel was still able to ball out. I mean, he was still still able to create that interior rush to where we was able to collapse the pocket. So I'm fine with that. And this is something we saw with Chris Jones as well too, even last season, and when he had that 15.5 plus sack season as well. Some games he's silent. He has a play to where he has some batted balls. He gets there, gets in the face of the quarterback. But hey, Charles, it was a Charles game. It was a Charles game.
Welcome to the team, bud. Welcome.
Sitting out,
way to debut.
Suspension. It was this type of game. He had a big batted ball that ended up being an interception. He had a sack as well too. Also a pressure to where he was under the legs of Herbert, wasn't able to get it off as well. He was a needed piece that we needed back into this defense, and starts to make you question. I mean, do we really need to go ahead and get Frank Clark? Do we just need to leave this group alone and let them come together?
You changing? Yeah. What are you doing?
I love Frank. I love Frank. I just don't. When he was supposed to be in Kansas City,
for saying this take a week ago. Are you kidding me?
No, I mean, I'm gonna always be a Frank lover. I love him. That's my guy. But at the same time, I'm someone who looks at how the team is going at that time. I love the Kansas City Chiefs. I love my players, but I love the Kansas City Chiefs. They're bringing him in. I think it's added value. I mean, especially if he's sitting to the end of the season and we want to add that presence for the postseason, like what y'all all are saying. So
we had 2 defensive ends inactive this game. So Malik Herring was basically shifted out for Charles Omenihu to be placed in. So we have now Malik Herring ride the inactive. We have BJ Thompson on the roster ride inactive. And the Chiefs chose to let go of Coburn a week ago when arguably he's like the better prospect out of those 3 players. So it's like this team all of a sudden has prioritized defensive ends, even though every time we see a defensive end on this team, they're lining up inside. So
that's that.
I just want to say this. I just want to say this.
Spag stuff. That's all.
Yeah, and that's what they said. Spags won this when he won the Super Bowl in they said in
New York.
He had all defensive ends on the field with Strahan, all of those guys. So that's just something that I would just be aware of if you're watching as a fan. Just period. Know what type of defensive coordinator that you have and what you're dealing with. That's what he likes. And so eventually that's the way that he wants to go. And if you pay attention to those best pass rushes that we have in the league, those guys are putting 4 ends on the field. Or even if your tackle is not an end, he's close to it. He's able to move as fast as an end. Quentin Williams. You have guys like Aaron Donald, different guys like that. So that's the kind of way that the league is going, especially with guys like Mahomes, guys like Josh Allen, guys that can break that pocket and run. You want to put those fast, sprawling, kind of like cat-like guys like Joey Bosa. You want those guys out there on the end, really kind of making those athletic plays, being able to get their hands up, get in passing lanes like we seen today. Chris didn't get a lot of sacks, but he did disrupt and get in the backfield a lot. Was in when it was in Justin Herbert's face a lot. You see Charles Omenihu getting his hands up. It's not always about getting the sacks, but like I told Dale, tips and overthrows really kill people in this offense now, where we have the RPO and all of these different things where we're trying to throw it quick. So like you've seen today, Willie Gay got his hand on the ball. That's an interception. Charles Omenihu tips the ball. It's an interception. Chris Jones comes down the middle. Brian Cook gets an interception. So when you get that pressure and your secondary and your front end can work hand in hand, you'll see things like that. And it may not always lead to a sack, but it may lead to disruption and just like disruption all on that back end and interceptions, just bad things. So that's what I feel like we're excelling in right now, is just disrupting plays.
Yeah, I feel you. So who was your, let's just limit to 1 or 2. So who are your top defensive players this game? I'm gonna give my shout out to Willie Gay, because that man's an animal. He got that free rush sack that lit Arrowhead up, and he's just a player, man. I love his energy. He's like Chris Jones, essentially, as a linebacker. And nobody else is like, come on, get height like he is. And I know that's not playing on the field, and doesn't mean anything, but it means so much.
It
When
does.
if you know that like that heart goes a long way. So I'm glad to see him balling out. That would be a sneaky bring back, but I think the Chiefs probably have other plans at what they prioritize at linebackers. But basically, I'm a fan, which I never thought I would get to a point to say this, where I'm a fan of this linebacking core, and there's not a player on it that I am disappointed with their play. They got their strengths, they got their weaknesses, but when they gel and play like a unit, they look incredible. So I'm going to give it to Willie Gay. You just mentioned Frank earlier, and the Chiefs took a first-round defensive end who can barely get on the field at this point, and you want to bring back Frank. So that would be a very stacked defensive end room with Felix pretty much sitting on the sideline. So I can't discount him. That's probably just being a rookie and having Charles back. So you want to play with your new toy versus Felix. So hopefully we see him get some more progress towards the end of the season. Otherwise, we might be, left scratching our heads on that move. So.
All right. So my guys actually, so we're talking about defense, right? My guys are. I know I wanted to give Trent McDuffie his love for that big tackle he had on Keenan Allen. Just heads up play by that, just showing why he's a number 1 draft pick. But actually, I'm gonna go with the free agent that we got this year, Mike Edwards, bro. A lot of times he plays that ball very well. Almost had a big pick as well too, and he's just almost had a pick 6. I just like how he just flies out to the ball. Just always seems like he's almost close to making a play. He's just been an underrated pick that we got in the offseason, and he's been fitting in very well. They actually mentioned it in the broadcast, and something I agreed with. He has found a home in Kansas City. He's definitely someone that we needed in that defensive back group, and they're going to get a lot of turnovers together. It's just because they make a lot of heads-up plays. They're all on one accord, and how he was able to come in, bring that veteran experience. This is a guy who played us in the Super Bowl and had a Super Bowl championship with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So for us to be able to bring that over as well too, that's definitely a plus. So shout out to him. And also, he talked about another number 1 draft pick that we have sitting on the sideline right now in Felix, because we got Charles Minihue back. It's easy to give Charles that other defensive player of the game spot on my part, but I'm going to actually go with GK, George Karlaftis. He had a big sack early in the game as well, too. Right. Seems like he's coming along. I'm definitely liking the growth I'm seeing with him. Definitely plays the run great. Definitely was able to get some pressure with his power rush as well, too. So those guys, for me, made some big plays. They stood out, and we'll see what we have going forward with this group. They're definitely showing why they're top 5, and let's keep it up.
Yeah, so, and who I'm going to go with is my man, L'Jarius Sneed. We heard his name called at the beginning of the game, and like I said, when you don't hear a corner's name, it's good. And when you hear him getting picks and turnovers, that's super good. So I'm going to just go with L'Jarius Sneed, man. He hasn't been called on a lot. We haven't seen the back of his jersey a million times this year, like we used to. Daniel Sorensen and all the other guys that got picked on, Mike Hughes, all the rest are supposed number 1s. So I just want to say, hats off to L'Jarius Sneed in the campaign that he's been putting on. He put the cherry on top this year with that pick that he just got this game. That was a tip pick. So I shouts out to that man, and I also just wanted to give it to another DB. Trent McDuffie, you didn't give it to him, but I'm going to give it to him. This is a guy that is making tackles. He's an undersized guy. He does it. He's not fluffing the stat sheet up with a ton of picks, but he's a guy that is very, very essential as far as making tackles. And he plays as something that you wouldn't assume would be his strong suit coming in and being undersized. He really plays very well inside and just tackling, period. I'm really not scared to stick his nose in the fan, really get down in there and make key tackles. We see it a lot all the time. And we know they're going to try and put him in this situation because he's undersized, and he makes a play 10 times out of 10. So hats off to Trent McDuffie, and that DB room is just playing lights out right now.
Bro, you mentioned Mike Edwards. If he's a step faster, he has 2 interceptions because he and L'Jarius Sneed were charging at that ball at the same time. If he's just a smidge faster than L'Jarius, that's his interception, and he might have got that second one because he's feeling himself.
Yep. I also got a brief update as well too. Andy Reid just announced Nick Bolton actually has a dislocated wrist. So hope everything gets well with him. I don't know how long that's going to keep him out. Hopefully, maybe it's 2 to 3 weeks.
Previous was that an ankle injury that kept?
I think
most of the other weeks?
it was ankle. So with this wrist, that could be probably about like a 2 to 3 week injury. Probably gonna have to put a cast on it. He'll be able to still be in the later part of the season more likely, but they just announced dislocated wrist.
Okay. I was hoping that it wasn't broke. That was my fear. I'm like, man, please don't let it be broke. I just really wanted it. Even though we played at a high level with Drew Tranquil, and I feel like this is going to go a long way for us, even in the postseason, fellas. Just having 2 linebackers that have very well seasoned and played, that is going to play into your hands very well down the stretch, I think.
Whoever in, we find. That's a great feeling to have.
So this is a good 2 to 3 week. Well, not to go to Germany, but to not go to that game at all, to just stay at home and rest, and then have a bye the week after that. So, I mean, it's the time to sit out. You got a bye week here in the next couple of weeks, and then the
Eagles is after
right
that,
after
right?
that. Yes,
right.
So you hope that's when you're really back.
Yeah, that's when you hope.
Hopefully, it's one of those where it's like he can tough through, maybe sit him out against the Denver Broncos. Just not needed. Drew Tranquil could come in for that game. That way we have him in. We can even have him limited in that Miami game as well too. Just because you want your playmakers out there at times, and when you feel like you need a play, you want him to be able to be that one who can do that. So you know what we can do defensively, and it looks like we got a solid group all around, regardless of who we have. So next week we know for sure we're fine with him being out. He's not playing that game. I can probably confirm that myself. I think that's definitely a 90% chance, just because we want to make sure he's healthy. He's definitely tough. He got up. It's always good when at least you can walk away. It's not a shoulder. It's the hand. You know, do what you need to do, but figure it out.
Yeah, you'll be all right. You get back. Hopefully he shakes back soon.
Yep. Agreed. Okay, so let's go on to the fun part of the team. So that first half, it started out slow. You're like, man, a whole half of the first quarter has gone by. We saw field goals, and who knows what we're going to see. And that second quarter, everything just started clicking. Travis Kelce had over 100 yards by himself in the first half, ended with 179 total yards. Mahomes had 300 yards in by the end of that first half, only having 3 total completions. So they look like they found something and were feeling themselves. And got to shout out Travis Kelce on National Tight End Day, because he had to lead the team in receiving catches and yards and everything because he is Travis Kelce. The man had 12 catches, which is pretty much 3 guys who caught catches combined. So shout out Travis Kelce, always putting in work. Hopefully at some point you won't need to, and we can get some other guys to step up. But I know you're always going to be Mahomes' security blanket. It looked like they did a better job of trying to somewhat contain him in the second half, so he didn't ball out as much as the first half indicates, but he was always reliable. And last thing I'll say on offense is you mentioned the point earlier of Mahomes getting out to run and picking up first down with his legs, and how that might not have been achievable in past seasons because he doesn't get that full rotation away from the defenders. He running is like the thing that will spark this offense when there's times where nothing works. It's like the offense is throw it to Kelce, and if they've managed to defend parts of that, then go get it on third down, Mahomes, because these third and long routes, if Mahomes doesn't get out of the pocket, wait a second, then find somebody crossing after their route running is over for whatever their play dictated to run, that then he finds somebody, but it seems like within the play, it's not coming out. So we still have some adjustments to make on offense, especially if we're going to choose to be pass happy like always. But let's figure out who we got and how to use them properly, and we don't need to be, I can't let you know what route I'm going to have MVS run. It's like, screw that. If he does something, play him in one spot. That's what he does, and if he wins or he doesn't win, move on to somebody else. So
go through your progressions.
That's right.
So. Go ahead.
All right. Oh, okay. Yeah. Offensively, like I understand where you can be coming from, just because how lights out Travis Kelce has been playing. It seems like he's the only threat. But from the wide receiver today, I was actually content. I felt like I saw at moments that he had some the receivers open, wanted to go downfield a lot, but they were able to make plays. Of course, it starts with Travis Kelce, but Rashee Rice, he has that chemistry now with Mahomes. He just understand, like, once I get in the middle, turn my head, catch the ball, and go. That's all I want, and I love it. And he's been excelling in that role. And then MVS, it looks like he's just been hearing our take so far. Hey, bro, it's time to wake up. So at the end of the day, I just I think they're starting to come together all in one, and I'm excited for what they have going forward. Hey, looks like we may have waking up offensively, so we'll see how it goes for the rest of the season.
Yeah, so yeah, and I'm sharing those same sentiments as well. Just I like what I seen after receiving core today. Of course, it's not the spectacular showing that we're used to seeing when we had Tyreek, and I think that's what people are getting caught up in that illusion of. It's not going to be that way anymore. It's going to be a little different. It's not going to look the same. It may not even be as sexy as it used to be, but it's going to get the job done. Travis is kind of that only guy that's going to get his 12 catches until we have a wide receiver that can kind of come around and get that same chemistry with Mahomes. And it takes a while to get that. So I think we did good. I think they're doing fine as far as their offense goes. They're finding the niche for every single one of those wide receivers, and I feel like they'll put them in the right position and get them in the places that they need to be. I feel like Andy got Rashee in a good spot today, got him some yak, even got Kadarius Toney on a route that we really don't see him run a lot, and got him a first down with 13 yards. So he's putting guys, I feel like, in the positions where they're excelling. Even Scott Moore at the beginning of the game running that little out route that he ran. So I feel like he's gonna find it. He's gonna mix it up and get everybody in the position that they need to be in to be successful. Mahomes is gonna have to find that answer, which he did this week. Let's see if he can do it next week.
So it seemed like today, at least when it came to the wide receivers, it was, if it's a broken play, MVS maybe, and Rashee Rice in the structured plays. And clearly the structured plays is what Andy Reid likes and calls and prefers the most. So let's hope he like senses this like we all do and gets him. There's so many times this man takes a slant and, like, in the distance, I see he's gone, and he's just, so close. So close. He's like one little burst away from taking a catch to the house, a la like a Sammy Watkins style back in the day. So,
and that's what I think is going to separate him next year and what he'll work on in the offseason. Next year, he'll have that.
It's amazing to already see that chemistry and stuff already, because the mystique of an Andy Reid offense and wide receivers have so much thinking and work to do. It's like, dude, if you're balling out and if you'll make the catch and you can make a play, then you'll get on the field. And we're seeing that. And it's not just a one role type of thing. He's getting placed everywhere, doing a little bit of everything. It's not just send you on a straight line route on the sidelines, and that's all you do. Or a Travis, go look for you somewhere over the middle. He's doing a little bit of everything. I'm really excited to see his future. He's only going to get more experienced and more targets, more yards, more stats. We're only going to see his star even explode even higher. All right, well, we're getting close to the end here, so I will give you guys each a little bit to kind of summarize the game in your view and what you're looking for this next coming Sunday against the Broncos.
All
I'll go ahead. You want me to go?
Oh.
I feel like the defense separated themselves this game. They did good. They stepped up, and the offense found their way against a team where they really should have beat up on the Broncos. They didn't do so. I'm happy that they did that. I want to see them beat up on the Broncos like this as well, put up some points. And let's see if the defense can keep another team under 20 points. Let's see what we got here. We're not going to have a Nick Bolton, so let's just see if we can find some success without him.
Definitely satisfied with today's performance. Definitely had a great first half offensively, slowed down in the second half. However, they weren't making as many mistakes, was still able to drive down the field. Defense was able to wake up in the second half, didn't allow a touchdown at all, kept Justin Herbert at bay, had 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions, and he only had about 250 yards passing, so that's great for a guy who could definitely throw for over 300 next week. I think we just need to do the same thing defensively, but I want to see this offense from today be out there in Denver and actually score more points. Let's actually blow them out, show them that we really should have did this the first time, and let's go ahead, get ready to go out to Germany where we can possibly go to 8-1 if we get this win next week as well too. So definitely excited.
Yep. My final thoughts is middle finger the refs. I'm just kidding. The offense was clicking until they clicked themselves and jammed their own trigger, and the defense was balling out. Except the run defense still gives me little cause for pause. Doesn't matter which team I saw it happen to. The run seems to work against us a lot, but I can't say it's amounted to points and losses. So I guess until it does happen, I can keep complaining and be pleasantly wrong about it. But part of me just feels like that's the one thing. Like, this defense is so good. And if they could stop 3 straight runs and force a 4th down, if it was 3 straight running plays, then I'd be like, yes, we got a killer defense. We can do whatever it takes. Until then, I'm going to be kind of this mindset of whenever the other team decides to throw the ball, they're just being stupid and not doing what they actually need to do to win the game. So, but yeah, guys, that was quite a game. All the Chargers games end up being this close, no matter what, no matter the record, no matter the team makeup and who's healthy and who's not.
Yep.
But we just had to work our way to that dub, and thankfully we did that. So divisional games, no matter what the opponent, no matter what it shows like on paper, it's tough. So we pulled it out. The Chargers came to our house, and we sent them packing. So let's all enjoy the rest of our Sunday night and enjoy a Victory Monday here in the Kingdom. Thank you all for listening. I hope you had a great game. I hope you like, follow, subscribe, share all the fancy buzzwords that you would say if you're a show like we are. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your evening or a great commute to work the next day. As always, let's go.
Chiefs.
Thanks for checking out this update straight from the heart of Chiefs Kingdom. We appreciate your passion. So please leave a like and follow us wherever you tune in from. See you next tailgate. Your trusted source for all things Chiefs. Red Kingdom Media.